Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of F1 2021 League Racing here at Belgium for Season 4 of Tier 2 in F1WL. Driving the Ferrari, about to head out for qualifying, and Belgium Spa in itself is one of my stronger tracks. I always loved how Spa just felt with a long straight down to the left, right, and left-hander, then right again. That sequence just always felt right to me, and just the mix of straight line speed and also the downforce needed in the second and third sector, mainly the second sector, is what I really enjoy about the circuit itself. As we go out for our first lap in Q1, we invalidate our lap time, and we're gonna have to head out for another one, just heading a bit too wide. And this was actually the first track where Tier 2 switched over from regular track limits to strict track limits. So some people, including myself, still probably trying to get a bit used to the different track limits, as I normally run regular, but I do need to get used to actually running realistic track limits and being able to make it realistic and actually stick to the rule book. But here we are on our second lap this time, not invalidated. Our delta time, of course, is going to be a bit off since our last one was invalidated. But we're not really setting really. Well, the lap felt good, but I don't think at the time I didn't think I was setting anything stellar. As we cross the line, we do go P1 as our first time this season going P1 in a session, and it did feel good. I'm not very much of a qualifier. I have much better race pace than I do in terms of qualifying pace. But in the end, we do finish almost 4/10ths behind the P1 Great Horizon in the Red Bull. But overall, that was probably the best Q1 I can ask for in terms of general pace and overall just pace I showed in qualifying. Because like I said, I usually never have any pace in qualifying, and showing this pace was just really promising as we go out on our out lap on the medium tire. As much as I said I love the right, left, and right hand corners, that sequence of corners, it is that first right hander that causes you to spin, and I fall victim to that as I get out of the way of the Aston Martin and the Alpha Siri. And I do want to start on the medium compounded tire. That is what I favor a bit more in terms of strategy, being able to have the fresh rubber at the end and not have to worry about anything else. As we are on this will be our first lap. We pitted for softs this time because as much as I want to start on mediums, I know others are going to be faster on the soft tires. Odds are I would be kicked out of Q2 as we hit a horrible, just a bit too slidey on the left-hander and just tap the wall, and that's enough to just cause us to DNF out of the session. It was very disappointing. We showed so much promise in just qualifying alone because I've never shown real qualifying pace like this on any street circuit or any circuit in general, not street circuit, any circuit in general. I usually don't have good qualifying pace, but this was really the track I had really good overall pace in, and it's very unfortunate we DNF. Few people DNF right before us, so that does cause us to be P13. So it's still not the best we could have done. We could have done much better. DRS Russell actually qualifying in Q2 on a medium, so he'll be starting, which in my personal opinion, a bit of an advantage since the mediums, if there's no early safety car, the mediums will definitely be the advantage in terms of strategy, unless the soft tire runners can really pull away. But if Russell can make strategy work, and what I thought I could make the strategy work, that definitely really helped him overall. But like I said, it's very disappointing. Our teammate was knocked out, I believe, in Q1 as we look down. He was knocked out in Q1. Two other people DNF right before us, so we kind of get a bit lucky there. And at the end of the result for Q3, Russell goes P1, pole position by 4/10ths, 4.5 tenths almost. And just, I felt like we could have been up there, at least in the top five. I believe we had the pace just to set a really good qualifying lap. A few more people didn't set the times. I believe they also DNF. So a lot of people just spinning on a few corners, as it is very easy to do if you're not too careful. But here we go as we move on to the race. In this case, we're going to go for the soft medium strat. I know I said I want to start on mediums, but the softs, if we can make it work, and I do think there's going to be an early safety car. If we can make it work, then it's definitely going to be the optimal strat and definitely help us out in the long run. But after disappointing qualifying, starting P13, we just have to make the most of this start and be able to gain as much positions as possible right after this being the formation lap. If we get a good start and get as many positions as possible just on lap 1 and be able to stay out of trouble, that would be very much the key to this whole race, being able to stay out of trouble and be able to avoid other people making mistakes and other people spinning. As we get ready for the race, 5 lights are for the Belgium Grand Prix Season 4 Tier 2. 5 lights are out and we're underway for Belgium. And we get a very decent start, a better start than High Caliber. We choose the inside line, making sure no one dives down the inside of us, as Matt kind of left himself open for the dive on for us. Top goes wide, and it's side by side between me and Matt towards Radion or Rouge. He backs out of it, which is very smart. Don't want to go too wide, as we barely miss getting our front wing chopped off by Monkey and Aston Martin there. And we do get it somehow a good run towards, we get a slipstream from Lord Lapsian in front of us, as Matt goes for the complete dive bomb on Lapsian, and we're able to somewhat keep the position, but we're having to defend from top, and he won't be able to make it around the outside. We easily just keep it nice and steady, roll the car through. We're able to keep the position P9, and we are steady on the back of Lapsian. I know we have more pace than this on the soft counterbalance tire. If we can take advantage of it, we definitely can gain a big advantage and catch up to the others. James with a big advantage up ahead. If we can pass Lapsian early enough, we can catch up to them. Have a big advantage, as DRS Russell, he had the advantage on the medium compound tire, and he spins, and we just get a kick of oversteer and tap Lapsian and get a 5-second penalty. Talk about just pouring lemon juice on the wound right there. Not only do we have a broken front wing, we're gonna have to pit, but now we have a 5-second penalty. But in this case, I was very stupid and did not pit at all under the VSC when I could have had the chance to just have a good pit stop. I thought maybe the damage might not have been that bad. We could have went a bit longer, but right away I noticed we just have a total lack of pace, and now we're gonna have to basically just crawl our way to the pit lane with this 5-second penalty also. So it's just been a complete disaster. Where after it was a good start, we were P9 on lap 1, catching up to Lapsian would have been P8. Odds are we'll probably been P8 by the end of the lap. So be able to gain maybe five positions in one lap, that would have been stellar. But instead, this just poor strategy call from myself basically cost us, in this case, what I thought was the whole race, and we were very much in the mud, and the whole strategy was kaput. As we head inside the pit lane with the 5-second penalty and broken front wing, I figured we might as well go on the medium compound tire. We're not gonna last that long on the hards. The tire wear in Spa is pretty high, so if we're able to just try to set the good times on mediums and be able to last enough for the softs for a double stop, or maybe hope for a safety car to go for a double stop, two stop rather, and if we're able to go for a two stop, that would play a bit into our hands. But sitting in P16, we're definitely down bad in this case. P17, as Pajak passes us. Matt also pit, and he has a drive-through penalty. I assume that was from the, what was it? I believe that was from the VSC. He might have been speeding right when it ended. As we move on to lap 4, Hilltecker right behind us. Matt DNF sometime between lap 2 and lap 4, as we hit another snap of oversteer, getting on the curb that basically ruins just the whole car. The balance of the car unsettles the car just enough to hit into the slide, and that just happened to us as we lose our entire front wing. And this race just goes from bad to worse as we once again have to crawl our way to the pit lane. And at this point, while I knew there was still a lot of laps left, I figured, all right, if there's not going to be another safety car, in this case, we should strap on a set of hards and hope that we can gain some type of advantage. Maybe, I don't know, just anyone DNFs. We are P17. 7 people have to DNF for us to gain anything. And in this case, our race is basically just ruined. But if we can go to the end and hope we can gain something off of other people's misfortune, just as other people probably gained from our misfortune of us spinning, of the penalty of the snap oversteer that caused us to bump Lord Lapsian. Is definitely gonna be a race of luck in this case. If we are able to catch up to the leading pack up front, there'd definitely be a huge load of luck for us in this race, as we just hope not to gain anything else. As moving on to lap 6, Eddie R. DNF, I believe he was in the Mercedes, and this is a full-blown safety car. So what I wanted to happen earlier, when I was hoping that maybe we can pit and bunch everything up, I want to happen actually later, so be able to pit again. But in this case, I'm thinking, all right, this is the point where I want to pit for the medium tires anyway when I start on softs. So if I pit now for the medium compounded tire, it would be pretty easy to last to the end of the race. Ultimate Gamer is also out of the race. A DNF under the safety car, a bit strange, doesn't usually happen, but I'm guessing he had the same thing happen to me when in qualifying, just a small tap on the wall, maybe hit a bit of oversteer, hit into a slide, and that caused him to DNF. So now we're sitting P16 as Hilltecker is in the pit lane. I believe he's P16. I believe he's either DNFing in the pit lane. In this case, since it says it says he's in the pit lane, but it's still on pit 16, so I'm assuming he's DNFing in the pit lane. Oh wait, never mind. We're just happening fast. Ultimate Gamer, who looks like he DNF on the hill towards Radion, and that is a place where if you're right behind somebody, it is very easy to hit a snap of oversteer. As we get ready for the safety car restart, High Caliber, I believe when he passed me to adjourn the position, it looked like it was a big confusion with the game, and he had to give position back to me. It was a bit weird. But we're able to pass him just fine. But look, all the time we've lost to Miguel and Pajak up front with 3 seconds worth of penalty between everyone. Everything's evened out. So that's not really what we wanted. But if Miguel and Pajak can keep fighting, we're going to be able to catch up to them with relative ease with 13 laps to go rather. That's the hill on Radion, the apex. That's where we're getting really the most amount of track limit warnings. That's where that's what's gonna hurt us the most. As Bajak up ahead is gonna hit to a spin. The same thing that happened to us twice this race already has happened to him, or this weekend already has happened to him. And we're gonna be able to enable. This is not really gonna help us too much. I wanted him and Mikael to fight, but in this case, it looks like up ahead, Mikael and Luke Post are going to fight in the Mercedes and Alfa Romeo. If they fight enough, we're going to be able to gain an advantage. Just look at the advantage we're gaining already on High Caliber and Hilltecker. We have pace in this car. We just need to bring everything out of it, as it looks like James hit a spin also, as it's very easy on all these curves, on the inside curves of all these apexes. It's very easy to just make the car slide out, make the rear slide out, and just unsettle the car and cause you to spin. Many people are experiencing that in this race, as Luke Post and Mikael are fighting very, very, very much. And Mikael in P10, this is exactly what I want, as Hilltecker DNFs. Probably want to just mention hitting to a spin and going just DNFing, probably tapping a wall. That's enough to just cause a wheel to bounce off your tire. And has Luke Post heads in the pits, not DNF. As Luke Post heads in the pits, he's going to start towards the back of the pack, but he's going to start on fresher tires, so that is key. So in this case, we try to get the jump on Mikael on the safety car restart. He gets a snap of oversteer, but he still has a bit of an advantage. As High Caliber and Binkers, I think High Caliber got a very poor exit, and it caused Binkers to start off on the back foot. But Binkers, if you can tell by the leaderboard, he does pass him on the hairpin of the corner, so it works out us as teammates being able to be right here. So outside as Mikal is right there. I wasn't sure where he was go. We had to run up Radion, and we had to run to overtake him. But in this case, I just wasn't sure whether or not where he was gonna go exactly, where he's gonna place his car. So it's better safe than sorry. Wait a bit longer. I thought in this case, if we didn't fight at all, we'd be able to catch up to Monkey. But towards the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3, we've lost almost 2 seconds to Monkey and the Aston Martin up ahead. So we just lost way too much pace sticking behind McAllister here. And with Binkers right behind us, we want to get a move on, be able to have our teammate back us up, and be able to push towards the pack up ahead together as we look to go down the inside of the chicane, right to left. Very, very smooth, I'll say very easy, but we're able to. I think that was according to his plan. I think he wanted us to overtake right there, and for him that was a possibility to send a return move on the straight later on. But we just had way too much pace. We were able to pull away, and at this point, I believe our teammate may have DNF'd. So it's just us on lap 16, and sitting in P8. This is a great recovery drive from us. We're sitting at the back of the pack in P17 after everything happened. As I think Mikal, he's holding down the order. I think he hit a spin. As we look for a move on Monkey, we looked for a move into the corner and then backed out, but that caused him to go very, very wide to give us the room. And then we just snooped down the inside and then around the outside of the next corner. A beautiful move, if I do say so myself. And it's showing that we do really have pace, and just in general, definitely good race pace. And this is exactly what we should have been doing at the start of the race, but just a bit of bad luck and a bit of admittingly poor driving on my side kind of caused us to be down towards the pack. But with the 6 seconds worth of penalties, we have to get a move on and just overtake and just get into some clean air, while having Lapsy ahead of us as a horse and carriage type of deal would help us a lot. We need to be able to pass him relatively quickly as he lets us go down the inside. I was a bit hesitant going down the inside, but I think he led us in this case to possibly have the either return move into the hairpin or just a return move in general into the straight. But I believe we're going to be able to pull away. We have a definite pace advantage. We have very much great pace in general. Like I said, it was frustrating in qualifying not having just great pace and not being able to use it. Then at the start of the race, having great pace and then just making a mistake and not being able to use the pace I have to my fullest extent. But now, with everyone on mediums, it's a bit more even. We're able to just run and use our pace advantage and be able to pull away from Lapsian, and we are chasing top now almost 2 seconds to gap, 1.5 to Lapsian, and half a second is the gap between top and us. We are very much catching him, and we're very much having a definite pace advantage. We hit a big step of oversteer. We lose one position. I'm surprised we didn't lose more. I believe James and Monkey must have been fighting right behind us, so we're able to keep the position just barely and hope that nothing happens behind us, as they are going to have the DRS advantage into the next corner, or up the straight, up Eau Rouge towards Radion. As James is right behind us, he hits a step of oversteer and he hits the wall. I believe he does DNF, and he's out of the session. That brings out the full course safety car. I believe what happened with him right behind us, he either bumped us as we had to slow down trying to stick within track limits. He either bumped us and that caused them to spin, start to rear to step out, or this does happen a lot in the dirty air up the hill. It causes your rear to step out and just lose control of your car. That is very easy to do on those two corners on Radion and Eau Rouge. So that brings out the four-cold safety car, and we choose to pit I figured we won't lose much doing this. We still have the 6 seconds worth of penalties, but if we pit for softs, we're gonna have not as much of an advantage, but we just need. I like feeling the fresh rubber early. If we can have a good pace advantage of other people on those mediums, we definitely have a good pace advantage on people that on worn mediums. We're on very, very fresh softs, so this would definitely be a chance for us to come back and be able to show people our true pace. And while we do have 6 seconds worth of time penalties at the moment, as Luke Post does crash under the safety car, or DNFs under the safety car, it's a bit weird instance because this is I believe the second time someone in this race DNFs under the safety car, so it is a bit interesting. But as we hear on the safety car restart, as I was saying, while we have these 6 seconds of penalties, I do believe with these fresh tires, I can pull a gap and just be able to maybe score at least 1 point, salvage something from this race. On the restart, Mikal does get a bit of a poor exit. The rear stepped out on him as Hunji looks for the move a little bit around the outside, thinks better of it, and just waiting, being a bit patient as Hunji is thinking about going to move up Eau Rouge. He's going to go down the inside of Macau. Macau lets him. This is a smart decision, not letting. It's better. Hunji's on the fresh tires as with Macau letting Hunji through, he kind of had to slow down up Eau Rouge and towards Radion. So down the straight, Monkey looks for the move. We don't have much of a slipstream from Macau, so we have to go defensive against Monkey. We do get the defensive move done, and on the next right-hander, we get a bit of a better exit than Macau. We go for the move down inside, desperate for the move. He did squeeze us from the inside. It was a bit of a lunge, admittingly. And as we go towards the left-hander, he squeezes us on the outside, and we hit the barrier in DNF from the session. After what was a series of disappointments early in the race and a chance for hope, more bad luck comes our way as we DNF out of the session. And overall was very poor Spa Grand Prix. I mean, it just the whole race didn't work out for us, and overall it was a very, very poor performance, just capped off by some more bad luck. As Great Horizon and the Red Bull wins active subset on the podium in P2, and I believe one of the Mercs, I forgot which of the Mercedes, as we look at the standings soon, does get third place on the podium. And it was very much a disappointing race for us overall. We had great pace in qualifying, just bad luck throughout the weekend though, and it was definitely a letdown, a very big letdown. As we finished P11 with the 6 seconds of penalties, P11, that's very disappointing. We could have got better. I mean, we had, like I said, we had great points. Even a chance at just 1 point would have been great. And on the fresh tires, we might have been able to look for fastest lap, maybe. With Hunji was also on fresh tires, and he's very fast himself. But we had a chance. That's all that matters. We had at least a chance. The whole race ends up ending in a DNF. Very, very close to the end. Almost made it through the whole race. It's a race full of bad luck, and then caps off with even more poor luck. As the race just didn't go our way either way, and even with the crash with Macau, the whole race weekend was a good one to scrub off and not be reminded of later. As another scoreless outing in another Grand Prix, we've only finished, I believe, 4 Grand Prix. We haven't finished in Imola. We didn't finish in Imola. Didn't finish in Baku. We got a podium in Portugal and DNF'd in Canada, and only scored and got 4th place in Austria. So that's only 2 That's only 2 points finishes and 2 finishes period in the season so far. And out of 2 finishes out of 7 races, but both of those 2 finishes high up in the points. So we do have a lot of potential overall throughout the season in the 7 races, but we just haven't been able to put in the finishes to prove that. And with the 2 next videos coming out, Mexico and Saudi Arabia, those are going to be very, very important races overall throughout the whole season, because I missed Italy, which is the next race, but I also DNF'd in Singapore, which was round 9, due to a disconnection. So it was a bit more disappointment overall. But these two rounds right here were the pivotal moments, with Saudi Arabia being my last race, not be able to make it at Brazil. These two races were quite possibly the one of my best races overall. Even with the podium in Portugal, Mexico and Saudi Arabia were definitely one of my best two league races so far in my league racing career. So if you guys did enjoy this one, please do leave a like. Let me know what other videos ideas you guys may have in the comments below. If you guys do enjoy any relay league racing content or F1 content or other Forza content even, please do subscribe and turn on notifications while you're at it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.